Good morning. Well, we got more of the same. The yo-yo hasn't stopping. I suppose it isn't going to stop, at least until tomorrow. You have to wonder, does inflation really matter anymore to the markets? Meaning, we all know it's there. What about tomorrow, assuming today's going to be the same and where the prices are coming? As you can see, they're coming down here right now to the bottom of the trading range, which they didn't get to the top of the trading range, over here overnight, and they came back down, and you see where they were, yesterday, and now down at these pivots. And unless it flips right back up again, which I would just tend to think not, down here, which has been the safe place, is buyers would step up again. However, as this time it was falling from here, this time, it fell. This time it had a decent bounce, couldn't get there. So it's not starting from up here at this point. So maybe it goes a bit lower. And with that in mind, and of course, we go lower to where, and you can see where, each time it gets pushed down into this green area, it gets rejected and pushes back up. So maybe it's got to break below these lows since it's starting from here, and I guess this is like, right there where these bars overlap each other on the daily chart. You can see this little congestion area right there. And then I suspect that's where I would be looking for it to pop back up again after taking out those lows. So we'll see if that happens. Now, it just keeps flipping back and forth, back and forth. But notice it's getting a little tighter here. The bodies there yesterday and the day before overlapping each other. And, how many times can it get rejected? Maybe 3 times is a charm. But that is what we would want to see. Now, if today was the CPI day, which is tomorrow, and we went down there and then we got a rejection candle, I think that would be the point where I would then assume that it's going to take out these highs, even though it's been consolidating there, because you'd have that downside whipsaw. We'll see. Now, that being said, like over here, we're like, okay, here's this green bar. And we're looking for it to go up. And of course it didn't. Up to where? And so always look to the left, up to where? Well, the 50 MA was here lined up with this high. Now the 50 MA is coming over the top. It's closer. It shouldn't stop prices from going up. I mean, now it's lined up with this pivot high, but if we were to get that rejection, it should get through it. So it's kind of like a thought process before it happens, and then we just see what really happens. So I guess going into tomorrow, which we'll see what's happening then, but I would think the worse the number, the better. I think whether it's worse than it is or better than expected, probably, I guess the market should go up just based on, still the same bias that this hasn't been negated yet of this power move. And the extent at which breadth went up here, confirming that move. And now as this comes down towards zero after a move like that, historically, that is where the market typically turns around. I don't know why, but, what does zero actually mean in this McClellan oscillator breadth internal? Well, this is created or comprised of a 19 EMA and a 39 EMA of... I thought I had a chart of this here. Yeah. Of this information, advancers minus decliners. So if you put a 19 EMA on top of these closes and a 39 EMA, you would come up with this line. So what zero means is that the two moving averages are now touching each other. If it goes down below, that means the 19 is below the 39. It's a MACD indicator applied to this information. That's all it is. Now that removes the mystery from that. So again, the coming together, it's the same thing as seeing, okay, what does it mean for two moving averages come together? Like the 50 and the 20. Well, a shorter term measure of the closes and a longer term measure of the closes is coming together, which means at the moment, the closes are in about the same area because you're dropping off the old data and averaging in the new data. And that infers that things are going to move, right? Theoretically. So things are coming together, internals maybe to zero. Maybe we get this rejection of the breakdown and we get some kind of rally. And the other side of that is it just crashes right back down to the bottom of the weekly chart. And at that point, I think that is a far better scenario. Why? Because at that point, we're going to get a weekly retest and I believe reversal pattern. What I mentioned in the green room yesterday was that, look, if it was to come down here, down to 3,800, and we're looking at the futures, but if we look at SPX, which is what pretty much institutions of the world, whatever is measuring, coming down here, you'd have this kind of washout. And it's like, okay, the news is out. We know it's terrible, so on and so forth. And it comes down here, and then we get whatever summer rally there is within this downtrend. So, and as prices go nowhere, we look at more things to try and figure out what's going to happen. And it creates more possibility. Oh, this will happen, that would happen, other than, hey, here's a retest and reversal pattern. After it's been going down for a while, that's a buy, press the button, right? You press the button here and it's like, it's not going up. You don't want to short it, but it's not going up. So there's confusion. You can see the back and forth here. Now with SPX today, I'm at 40.15, right? And if it goes down, I would go lower. If this continues to drop at the open and coming and breaks here, go down to 4,000 or so. So we always look for our lines of defense. 4180. I'm not that brave, Jake. 4180. It's $10. I wouldn't do that. That's huge premium. It's too tight. 4180. Maybe if it goes down there to 4180. But again, I would want it to break going down there. Yes, right away start thinking, down here. But if it broke the lows and then you see a 2-minute type of reversal scenario, go for it. Yes. Climactic. I don't know, CCS. I'm a little brain fog today. Sorry. But you got the idea. And so we'll see how this plays out. Now, on the Qs, credit call spread. Well, okay. I don't know. I looked at that and it was too tight, but if it goes down there, it's not going to get back to the top of the range. And it's always like, okay, is there premium here at 41.50? When you're saying 41.80, which is above here, 41.80, 60 cents by 75 cents. If you want to do that now, I guess, but by the time it goes down there, there's not going to be anything, but sure. All right. So NQs, similar story here. That looks like it could drop. So maybe keep an eye on that to see if they get down there. And just notice here, I get my little drawing thing out here. This is staying in the lower half of the wide range bar. Here's the bodies, rejection, bar by bar, where it is now. It certainly looks like it should easily go down there. And, the 20 MA is there. And just like with the S&Ps, the 20 MA is there. You got the 50 MA there and everything that I already talked about. So as far as that goes, SPY, looking at the gap, 409, 410, gapping down to the bottom of the range. Here it is. So look, thought process here, down the bottom of the range, it's been holding. Buyers show up there again. Well, it did make this lower high now. It's not going from here straight down. 30 minutes hanging down there, buyers start losing confidence and it opens up the door to the void. So keep that in mind. We always have to have two scenarios, and it's just based on price action, which is what we look at, is like, hey, if it goes down to support and it doesn't bounce back up and it spends a half hour down there, similar like there was a couple of times this week, it's up here and it rattles around, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, it ain't going up, you better sell. So the psychology of the pattern, it's like, it's support, there's buyers, they hold it there, it doesn't go up, I say, get the hell out of the way, hit the bid. All right, Qs. 306, 306. Not at the bottom of the range, but who the hell wants to buy it before it gets there? Me. YM, same crap, back and forth, back and forth. Now, yesterday I mentioned that this was stronger, but kind of like it's grinding up. Right. So I view this, just reading the patterns, as it's like as if you had to walk uphill with a 100-pound backpack on you, so you're exerting a lot of energy. So as it gets closer to here and it breaks a low, longs have kind of like, man, when is this thing going to start picking up some steam? And it jiggles, and it's what we call a self-correcting uptrend. But at some point, it starts to break some support. Longs are going to step aside. Bitcoin, same back and forth, back and forth. Crude oil down a little bit here today, but continuing to work its way up there. Silver going nowhere. And gold going nowhere. And I don't know, I got an email yesterday about, I guess people get frustrated, of course, with this lack of movement. And the question was about, swing trading versus something else. And it's like, nothing wrong with swing trading, but in a market like this, that doesn't work. It's more about intraday trading or credit spreads. So if you don't like credit spreads and you don't like intraday trading, SOH, sit on your hands. You can't make gold out of lead or whatever that thing goes. All right, interest rates going up here, top of the range. It said, hey, be careful here. The market like this, but from a bullish point of view, now the 5 years up at the top of the range. The 10 years a little slower. It's getting there. It's over 3%. And while this has gone nowhere, it hasn't broken down. So look, CPI, maybe this spikes up, kind of like putting together maybe a reason why we get some kind of reversal on the news tomorrow. But, we'll just have to see how it plays out. And then there's options expiration next week, which I think is going to be more of an influence than this, potentially than this CPI. And VIX, coming down to a point where it's gone up before, so we'll see. Anyway, good luck today. Stay out of the blender. To you, Dan.
Yeah, tell Emmanuel to keep his arm out of vices today, too.
That was quite the analogy yesterday.
I love messing with him. Oh, inflation. It's peaked out. Oh, good news. No worries then. Yep, everything back to normal. Inflation's at 8.8%. Everything's all good. All right, so we have a ton of opens actually. They're all fine. We have one call spread on RCL, gapping down, looks great, and looks like a short under today's low. I posted it. Everything else is long. I'm sorry, it's put spreads in the weekly options trader. IWM here, we have 185, so this one's getting a little iffy, expires tomorrow. With the market gap up today, I actually found, I've been watching a lot of interesting put spreads here that I posted, and I'm gonna leave them there because I don't think they're gonna hit. So see, look at snow here, gapped up over yesterday's high. So I got alarm set. T2 looks great. A 1, 2, 3. It's actually relative strength right now. Coin, yesterday's high. Put spread. Here, look at this little core I found. AVO on earnings. Trade's kind of sloppy, but that's a 1, 2, 3. Rising 20, 50. Look at this beautiful inverse head and shoulders on the weekly. You know, that is right out of the textbook of what we would teach as the daily, weekly, in alignment, bottoming pattern, price void. I mean, it's a huge target. I don't know where, but I just eyeball 16 to 17. So that looks fantastic. Zen, I just saw here crashing pre-market. I don't know what to do with it though. XOP, I posted as a call spread. It's a climactic sell setup, far from the 20. We'll sell a call spread that expires tomorrow. On BABA, I posted a call spread. That's what we 30-minute low. That's what we call a bear gap surprise. Gapping down into yesterday's range, far from the 20. Major resistance over here. So if it takes out a 30-minute low, then we're good to go. I'm going to put that in a window to keep an eye on it. Ouija, I just saw this thing going by the ticker. Bottoming pattern. It was up a lot. I mean, percentage wise, look at these things. From 220 to 310. That is a monster percent gap. HII is one of these military stocks that I found the other day. Inside day, if it can get up here. Cream is another put spread over yesterday's high, gapping down. Fitch, that's what Emmanuel got me into yesterday. Fitch, gapping down a little bit, but over yesterday's high, looks good. GEF, gap breakout 64. So we love gap breakouts from a bottoming pattern with a shock element, and it's gapping over a red bar. The only thing I wish is it was gapping more to like 63, and then it had a bigger void. Because then I would say buy 5-minute high, target 65. So now see it's $1 away from my target. So that's what makes that not a tier 1. This has earnings, but nothing to do with it. Nice little double bottom here. That's a double bottom. Yext, that's a bottoming pattern. That's worth watching. Had earnings. Baba, I mentioned. ABM, I see one print down here at 48, but I don't trust it unless it's liquid. CBS, short under yesterday's low. Continuation, bear 1, 2, 3. You know, start with a day trade. Target's not real big, maybe 92. Hoft, there's another 1, 2, 3, had earnings. Let's keep an eye on that. This 5 here, bottom right. 5, ugly gap, 127. I'll watch that to sell a call spread for tomorrow. OXM gapping up, bullish gap, but no pattern. Base gapping up a little bit, no pattern. SIG 67. Now that could be a 30-minute high. It went sideways here. There's a void to 70 to whatever, 73. So that looks good. I'll put that in the window. Here, I'll put it right here. I don't need snow. I got an alarm already. So SIG is there. NEO had earnings gapping down 1882. Bearish gap. Oh, Tesla was up strong today. I was gonna watch. Oh, it still is. 7. Oh, I'm not showing pre-market on my other computer for some reason. I'm not. That's weird. Maybe something's wrong with my data. But this is a put spread idea, gapping up, holding well. A put spread for tomorrow. And they also had some delivery things. Facebook here changed its symbol here. I was wondering this morning, I'm like, my Facebook chart is not working. And then I remembered I finally switched to Meta. All right, KWeb, you know, it's going to be down here a little bit with some of these Chinese stocks, but I'm going to watch this weekly. I know China has more, you know, gap news risk. T2, we mentioned SI. I posted as a put spread over this 15-minute pivot right here. Over 84.75. We'll sell out of the money put for next week. LCID. It's a EV that's trying to bottom. Kind of big inverse head and shoulder with 2 right shoulders. Arc Lady over yesterday's high. I got an alarm. Blink we found yesterday, bottoming pattern. T2 we talked about. Dash I posted yesterday's high, put spread. Redfin, we're already short the $10 puts, but over yesterday's high could be a directional. Roku we shorted puts yesterday, coming in a little bit. You know what? None of my pre-market charts are working here on my other computer. I don't know why Greg makes me use TradeStation. It has so many problems.
Someone the other day mentioned why you weren't using an upgraded version. Maybe that's something to do with it.
Well, I hit all the upgrades whenever they come through.
They said something about why you're not using version 10. I don't know. I don't use TradeStation, but somebody in YouTube mentioned it.
Well, I thought I am. Here, I'll check right now. Help about. Oh yeah, this is TradeStation 9.5. All right, well, that's something I'll look into over the weekend. Surely not going to mess with it now. All right, so yeah, my pre-markets on my other computers. Well, they're selectively working. It's working on Meta, but none of my futures. I got to look at them here. Oh well, I'll deal with it. All right, so I'm done. FTNT, I actually sold 260 puts yesterday. So 1, 2, 3 relative strength gapping up here over yesterday's high. You might want to do the same. Proud. So 1, 2, 3. That's put spread idea. Let me set an alarm at 180. Cream. I got all my alarms. So even with the gap down, these bullish ones just shouldn't trigger. You know, I always watch Mr. and Coin. Mr. over yesterday's high. Put spread Coin we talked about. Netflix still in a trading range. Funk. Fines down here a little bit. Bitcoin down 100. Trading range Funk. But if this goes sideways, you know, that's a small head and shoulders. I'd prefer a bigger head actually, but it is what it is. Big old left shoulder, and we're making the right shoulder. And then through the concept of transfer of demand, it will nullify this big old bottoming tail. If this goes sideways more and has a closing breakdown, then we'll start looking for shorts. The problem is, I mean, we could do some ETFs, but the stocks are so beat up. Look at Riot here. This is what Greg and I call a death trend. That thing looks like it can go to zero. Look at Hut. Horrible. Mara. Horrible. It looks like a short under the week's low. Blocks holding a little better. What's that other one? BTF, Bitcoin ETF. Just trying the bottom, but as of right now, it's a trading range in a downtrend. LHX is a 1, 2, 3. You can buy that over the high. We're already in it, but it looks fantastic. It's a 1, 2, 3. Looks great. All right, 9:28. I'm done. Any questions from you all? I got all my alarms, went through everything, my watch list, Greg's review. We're good to go. But the fact that we're giving up pre-market gains here, we'll see this one works over here. So we're at 409.41. But look, it's weird. It's not working. All right, well, that's because I lost it. All right, it is working here, 409. So we're still inside day trading range, but you know, more bearish. Gave up this pre-market gap, getting deeper into, what's today, Thursday, deeper into Tuesday's bar. So we're chilling at the open. CCL was another short, looks very similar to RCL. Microsoft. Hey, this Avo I mentioned as a core is moving. You know, you know, you could just buy it. It's a core with the stop. PayPal low alarm. PayPal, we have a put spread for Friday. SIG coming in, 5, big mess, snow alarm. All right, snow's holding well. Yesterday's high, 136.29. All right, so it hasn't hit yet, so I'll set an alarm 136.30. You know what? My stupid futures are not working on my other computer. None of them are moving. You know what? This has never happened to me. Very selective, very select charts are working. Like I saw Abco T2 moving. My daily, wow, this is weird. All my little thumbnails are not moving, the majority of them. All right, so I'm gonna be limping here for a few minutes. I'm gonna have to reboot or something. T2, let's see. T2, yesterday's highs, good to go. Abgo. My alarms are working though, so it's like my minder is updating quotes, just not the charts. Is anybody else having TradeStation problems? Page C, low, oh, but you are not in page C, so never mind. I am. And not okay, Lawrence? All right, let's Riot Dog stopped out. We were in that. We had 30-minute low yesterday. It stopped. Yeah, I hate when my equipment doesn't work. All right, Zoom gap down a little bit. So annoying. All right, RCL, let's hold off. 5-minute low fell too much. We have a nice open gain and our RCL, we're at 50% of max profit. Smooth stop pre-market high, 54.52. All right, filled at 30. Greg, if you say anything that, I'm flying blind here on my other system, so I'm just on the laptop.
Nothing to do. I mean,
RCO would have been a good stock to hold short into the close. Craig, I just looked on my YouTube channel. I see you're still streaming.
oh, it's still on.
I was